Yo. Oh, okay. Okay, it's good now. All right. Because I've been sitting here, speaking. Come to find out that my sound wasn't working, or my mic wasn't working. Now my mic is working. All right. So what's popping, everybody? What's popping? What's popping? You know, I've been saying this for years now, and I'm going to keep saying this, which is that, which is that within the next 15 to 20 years, millennial black males, and I'm saying this because I'm a millennial black males and Gen Xer black males, well, Gen Xers are already elders, but the millennial black males within the next 15 to 20 years will officially be considered America's elders, right? Or in this case, black America's elders. And the younger generation in that time are going to look at us the same way us millennials view our previous generations, right? We're going to view them as a bunch of failures. See, us as millennial so-called black males, we're failing the next generation. We're just repeating the same cycle of failure that the previous generation has done. That's all we're doing. We're not even taking the time to break that cycle of failure, but then have the nerve to talk shit about the old niggas. Old niggas this, old niggas that, old niggas this. Well, guess what? Us as millennials, we're becoming the old niggas that we complaining about. So it's one of those things where you complain about a certain group of people so much to the point of the fact that you start to become these same people without even realizing it. Just as much how you have a lot of so-called black males online who complain about the bad behavior of so-called black females, yet they actually embody the same bad behavior that they complain about when it comes to females. You start to become the same group of people that you're complaining about. And the thing is that, and one of the reasons why we're failing the next generation of so-called black boys is because right now we're not even focused as a collective on what to do to even create a better future for the next generation of boys. I mean, when you look at YouTube, right? When you look at what's going on with a lot of black male content creators on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, a lot of them are just they're just concentrating on complaining about females and trying to correct females. It's and it's like, okay, you guys are so focused on trying to correct a certain group of so-called black females to the point of the fact that you're not coming up with any type of solutions in solving the ills that a lot of black males go through in society. I mean, we're not putting our minds together and trying to figure out how to solve the wealth gap when it comes to the black male collective. We're not trying to solve the unemployment issue that's been going on within the black male collective for years and years and years. We're not trying to find ways to figure any of these things out. I mean, the so-called black. I mean, you talk about the same demographic of people, so-called black males, or in this case, let me take just black boys, right? Let me just take black just boys, not just the whole entire black male collective, but just uh, um the the collective of males between the grade K to 12, right? Boys, minors, who have some of the lowest reading levels in America. And we know this. We know this. And it's like on social media, it's like we have failed on trying to organize as black males trying to organize together and trying to figure out what we can establish in order to actually solve the high illiteracy issue that goes on within the collective black boys. The rate of illiteracy, not literacy, but illiteracy, is so high amongst the black boys that is sad. I mean, what it says the last time I've read, it states that about 80%, about 80% of black boys within the 8th grade are unable to read within grade level. so just imagine, just imagine how many so-called black boys who are in the high school level who can't even read within grade level. Just imagine how many adult black males who graduated high school, probably had some college education and what have you, but still can't read within grade level. We're talking about a very high rate of black males who can't fucking read. And instead of us focusing on how can we establish some sort of programs, how can we, get together and form some sort of coalition to solve this problem, you have a bunch of niggas online who are crying about a bunch of whores. I mean, it's sad when you think about it. What's going on? What's going on? He says, Michael Jackson did more for boys than the Manosphere. Oh shit. Oh shit. Damn. I mean, when you look at this whole thing, it's sad. Yo, dog, it's so sad when you have males on YouTube who think that arguing with females is actually accomplishing something. I mean, I watched this one video, right, where some dude, he was being questioned because this one dude, he would often go on different panels on YouTube and argue with females about their bad behavior and all this other stupid ass shit, right? So in this one video where another guy confronted him about that and asked him, basically questioning him and asking him, what are you accomplishing when you go around these different panels and argue with females? And this motherfucker is going to turn around and take pride in the fact that he made the same female that he debated with cry. Like, does that shit make sense? Okay, so making someone cry is an accomplishment? Well, so you got into a debate with a female. When I mean you, I'm speaking about as far as this person. This person got into a debate with a female on YouTube, and the female ended up supposedly crying. And you think that, and this motherfucker think that's an accomplishment? Are you fucking kidding me? So you mean to tell me the high incarceration rates of black males haven't been solved? The high rate of black males being victims of racial profiling, police brutality, and police murder have not been solved. But yeah, you think you've accomplished something by making some female on the internet cry. The high rate of joblessness amongst the black male collective have not been solved. But yet, here's this one motherfucker who think that he has accomplished something because he made some female cry on YouTube, supposedly. I mean, if this is not the meaning of pathetic, I don't know what is. This shit is so fucking stupid. What did someone said? No shade for real. He paid for their health care and was a true advocate for children. He didn't argue with women either. Right, correct. He said, I regret to inform you that this future you speak of is also bleak for non-American black boys. I see some horrible stuff going on in various Black Caribbean nations. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Well, you don't need to regret. I mean, yeah, yeah. The same bullshit is going on in the Caribbean. The same bullshit is going on in the Caribbean. The Caribbean, the same dumbass shit is going on. It's not that different. What you see among so-called black people in the Caribbean is not that different than what you see among so-called black people in America. And I could speak because I am of Caribbean descent, so I could actually um, confirm that and verify that shit. But being that we live in America, I'm strictly speaking about so-called black boys that live in America and that's born and raised in America, regardless if you are of supposed Black American or ADOS descent or you of Caribbean descent. I'm speaking about just the collective of black boys in America, you know. But yeah. Anyhow, right? Well, back to what I'm saying. It's like instead of so-called black males coming together and utilizing social media as a tool in order to gain in order to organize together in order to gain some sort of power out in the real world. No, what we're doing is that we're utilizing our voices in order to argue with the opposite sex all the fucking time. I mean, to me, that shit is stupid. And the thing is that the opposite sex that a lot of people on here complain about, they've established a level of power. They've established a level of social and political and economic power to the point of the fact that they could go out in public and shake their ass, right? Shake their ass and not suffer any consequences as a result of it. Ain't that some shit? they could they could actually go out, a lot of listen, females in America, right? Specifically so-called black females have garnered enough social and political and economic power to the point of the fact that they can be a politician, right? They can be a congress for a specific state or a congresswoman for a specific state, make videos of themselves shaking their behind, and still hold political office. All right, that's power for you. Where they could twerk and shake their goddamn behind but still actually stay in a level of power. Hell, they could get they listen. The female collective in the United States, right, have garnered so much power to the point of fact that they could actually function in society being hoes and trick the world into thinking that them being hoes is just is just a form of liberation and freedom for them. And while you're wasting your time, while you, black male, are wasting your time on the internet trying to argue with them, trying to let them see the error of their ways in which they already see and don't give a fuck about. The group that you are part of, the collective that you are a part of, is sinking deeper and deeper into a fucking hole that they might not ever get out of one day if they don't dig themselves out of that hole now. I mean, technically speaking, Sigma American Arcana, I don't even call it Ramil's argument. I call it the truth. I call it the truth. That's all it is. What people like Ramil, what people like Ty City, what people like Mayor of Tomorrow and other people have been saying, what I've been saying for years. It's just the truth. That's it. Well, I never said it was earned, Jersey Hammer. I never said it was earned. but they have it. They have the power. I never see. I never mentioned how feminists or females in general have power. I'm just stating that they do have it. Whether they earn it or didn't earn it, so what? The fact of the matter is, in today's world, the female collective have a certain level of political, social, and economic power to the point of the fact that they can get away with doing a lot of toxic shit. Yet, yet, instead of the male collective, specifically the black male collective, organizing together and putting themselves in a position of power, for so they could no longer be screwed, what the black male collective wants to do is complain, argue, and debate. People like Ramil and Ty City call it shame, blame, and explain. I call it complain, argue, and debate, which is no different than shame, blame, and explain. I mean, you could pick which one you want to. It's the same shit. And what I'm trying to say is that it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. And it's like when you got a lot of these niggas on here who are sitting there wasting their time arguing and debating with females. They're I mean, they lost sight of the future of black boys. I mean, I don't even think the future of black boys was even in their sight. See what I realize about a lot of so-called black males on YouTube, right? And I realized this for the past few years is that a lot of these black male content creators are looking for female validation. They're looking for female validation. And they're so focused on female validation to the point of the fact that they have lost sight, or for the most part, never had the intention in trying to develop a better future for the black male collective, especially black boys. And when you think about it, when you think about the next generation of so-called black boys, the millennials, the Generation Zs, the Generation Alphas, the Generation Betas, it's a very bleak future, and I kind of feel sorry for them. I kind of feel sorry for them because when you think about it, the rate of okay, the high rate of broken households in Black America doesn't seem to be improving, not that much, right? And the thing is that that still gives a high chance okay if the high rate of broken households in so-called Black America doesn't seem to be improving. So that means that there's a fat chance of a lot of black boys to grow up in environments where where they're going to see dysfunction. So really it's still going to be a lot of black children, black male children, that's going to grow up in a dysfunctional household and growing up most likely in a neighborhood full of other dysfunctional households, thus growing up in a dysfunctional community, if you want to call it a community. And where does this dysfunction get you? Nowhere. Nowhere. Now this dysfunctional community is going to be more crime filled, which brings about more poverty, because the higher the crime rate in a certain specific area, the more the lower the actual the lower the property rate in that neighborhood is going to be, which is going to make people want to leave that area. And there's also is going to make businesses want to leave that area. So therefore, that area is going to be more is going to have a higher poverty rate. And when they have a high poverty rate, it's going to have a high crime rate. And when it comes to a higher poverty rate, guess what? The education system within that local area is going to be funded even less. So when it's funded even less, that means these institutions of education are going to have less resources to educate these children. Thus, these children will not have the the basic education that they need in order for them to be functioning adults. Thus, they'll grow up to be dysfunctional. So the dysfunction continues. And while you have, and this is a domino effect. This is the same shit that has been happening to so-called black people in general in America, specifically in America, for the past 40 to 50 years. And I just see this chain of dysfunction, this chain of failure just continues. I see it continue. I don't see a generation of black males today come together to try to break this chain. I don't see that. Instead, we're just sitting there trying to seek validation from a group of females that we shouldn't even that we shouldn't even waste our time to even be around. I mean, this is the type of bullshit that you see. And I'm bringing all of this up to once again, as so-called black males online, what are we doing to solve these issues? It's so sad when you have a whole group of males who are so concentrated, who are so concentrated on the opposite sex to the point of the fact that they focus on them more than they focus on themselves. And you know what I said, and you know the thing is that, and I stated this before, that when it comes to social media, right? When it comes to all these videos, all these 8, 9, 10 hour live streams that these niggas have, where they spend hours, where they spend a whole damn work shift complaining about females, these videos are going to be up on the internet almost forever. So therefore, today's time, which is very unique from any other today, in which you have digital records showing what black males have done ever since 2016. So therefore, the next generation of black males is going to have access to these digital records and actually witness firsthand how the how our generation has failed them. They're gonna have records saying that, hey listen, hold on, what did you black males back in 2022 did? What have y'all done? Oh, I see. In 2022, y'all was online just speaking, making these videos, complaining about these broads. Y'all was not talking about helping us and everything. This is going to be what black males of tomorrow's time is going to tell us. When us as millennials and you Gen Xers become, all old and gray. I mean, a lot of you Gen Xers are becoming gray anyway, but I'm talking when the majority or the entirety of the Gen Xer and millennial generations become all old and gray. You know what I'm saying? This is what the next generation is going to tell us. They're going to point to actual evidence showing us how we failed them. Because now it's on a record showing that we have wasted years. We as black males of today have wasted years doing nothing to help the next generation of black males. Man, these niggas won't even work together even if a female's involved. Even if a female's involved, these niggas won't work together, man. What they're trying to do is fight for that female's validation and attention. That's what they'll fucking do. I mean, the thing is that we have so many so-called alphas online, but I haven't seen them done any alpha shit. You know? And the thing is, listen, I'm not even, listen, I don't even, it doesn't matter whether you're an alpha male or a beta male when it comes to being productive. The thing is, whether you're a beta male or an alpha male or a sigma male or a delta male or an omega male, my thing is, are you a productive male? Do you care about our group having a better future? You know what I'm saying? So you could take that alpha, beta, zeta, gata, delta, all them other Greek terminologies out the window. It's all about, do you want to see the next generation of black boys prosper? Do you want to see the next generation of black boys growing up having a better future? You know, do you want to see the next generation of black boys go through the same dysfunction that our generation did when we was boys? Or do you want them to have a better tomorrow? That's what it's about. I don't give a fuck about this. Man, come on. That's what it's about. People online trying to use, and there's no disrespect to anybody in the comment section, but I'm so sick and tired of seeing, a lot of males utilize this alpha male title as some sort of bragging rights. You know? I mean, okay. So Sigma American Arcana says, do you believe it's possible for us to go extinct, or is that just BS? Well, technically speaking, there's no evidence that so-called black males are going extinct. There's no evidence of it. But there is evidence that when it comes to having a level of power, that's going to become extinct when it comes to the power of the black male collective. I mean, that is if the black male collective had any power to begin with. Jersey Ham says the problem I see, since it is considered witness, is that we don't collectively put the alphas in line and put them in the corner until needed. Instead, we tend to give them an outsized voice. Well, you put alphas in quotation marks. I mean, the thing is that the so-called alphas on the internet. See, the thing is, it's strange just because the so-called alphas on the internet. I guess where Jersey Ham is coming from is that the so-called alphas on the internet is being enabled. You know what I'm saying? And it's not really about putting them in a corner until needed. Jersey Ham, I don't know, man. I'm trying to interpret what you're saying, but I'm not getting what you're saying. No disrespect, you know. But I'm not talking about putting anybody in the corner or putting anybody in line and put them in the corner until needed. I don't get that, Jersey Ham. I'm just not. when you talking about okay, when you talking about animals or species extinct, going extinct, they go extinct. It's way deeper than the alphas dying out. It's way deeper. Extinction, it happens, is way deeper than just the alphas dying out. It's that the environment that a species live in is killing them, and they're not accustomed to living to that new environment. And because a group of species are not accustomed into living in a new environment, they die off. But there's evidence of that happening. And sometimes, and a lot of times too, the environment is not the environment that's killing them is not natural. A lot of times, the environment that's killing them is because of something artificial happening in the environment, whether it's a lot of fossil fuels, that a lot of man-made fossil fuels that's being put in the atmosphere that's killing off a lot of species, or they get hunted down and targeted by humans and stuff like that, all that other shit. But once again, when species go extinct, before that they become endangered species. They become endangered, which means that their population, it dramatically reduces. But once again, we don't see evidence of the same thing happening right now amongst so-called black males. We don't, there's no proof of so-called black males right now physically going extinct. But as far as if you're going to talk about the level of collective power that black males have, the little power, that is if they have any power. But the little power that they have, if they have any power, that's going extinct. Well, Jersey Hammer, that's because we're stupid. That's the reason why. When we let the wannabe tough guy and the least educated have the loudest voice and the most influence, is because we're stupid. It's because we're stupid enough to accept and adopt a culture that glorifies stupidity. We actually glorify, adult males being overly emotional to the point of fact that we consider that overly emotional male to be strong. I mean, it's like Pizarro world in Black America, where we adopt a culture in which something's bad is considered good and something's good considered as bad. So we have adopted the backwards culture, which results in letting what Jersey Hammer said in this comment, allowing the so-called tough guy with the loudest voice, least education, with the least track record of productivity, to have the loudest voice and most influence. Oh damn! All right, my fault. Something fell off. Yeah, that's my. Yeah, but I get what you're saying, Sigma American Archive. I get what you're saying, but a lot of that is due to the species not being able to adapt to the new environment, and the new environment kills them, and they die off. Whether that new environment has been changed organically or if it has been changed artificially. A lot of species go extinct really because they're unable to adapt to the new environment, and that new environment has killed them. But once again, when you talk about extinction, before a species go extinct, there is evidence that a species will go extinct before they actually do. And once again, we don't see that with so-called black males on a physical level. We don't see that. Really, if you really want to break it down, the only group of people as of right now that a lot of people within the science world believe will go extinct within a few decades is the Caucasian race. Which is why, some scientists believe in that 2050 theory that by 2050, there will be very little to no full blooded Caucasian people. Okay, but single American Arcana, we're not adapting to a new world, but the new world that black males are not adapting to is not going to make them. There's no proof that it's making them die. That it's making them die off so much to the point of the fact that they become extinct. Now, as far as their power being extinct, as far as the power of the black male collective going extinct, you might have a point there. But on a physical level, there's no proof that the black male collective is going extinct. Sigma, I'm done going back and forth on this extinction shit. If we disagree, we disagree. I'm moving on. What's going on, Gino? Gino, what's up? I mean, I'm seeing a lot of these YouTube channels, a lot of these black male content creators making up these channels. I guess trying to copy Kevin Samuel's Christ style, where they want to interview the most degenerate black female that they could find. Oftentimes these types of black females that they interview, you know, they prove a whole lot of these black female stereotypes to be true, right? And they interview them, and then they try to beg and plead with them to change their ways or see the error of their ways. And I'm like, okay, is this the type of legacy that you want to put out in the world? That you are this supposed man begging and pleading degenerate females to see the error of their ways? What type of dumbass shit is that? That's some stupid ass shit. And the thing is that a lot of these black male content creators on YouTube that's making videos doing that, they basically abandoning. They've basically abandoned the next generation of black boys coming up in the world. They've abandoned them. It's like the next generation. It's almost as if the next generation of black boys are being treated the same way these vacant houses are treated in Detroit. No disrespect to those who live in the city of Detroit, but if you live in cities like Detroit, Michigan, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and cities like Baltimore, Maryland, or Buffalo, New York, or Rochester, New York, you know exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to vacant homes. That's how black boys are being treated right now. They're being treated like vacant homes, forgotten. You see the group of black boys, and you done nailed the wood onto the windows for so the wind won't crack the windows open, for so there will be no debris inside the window. You put the big wooden board on the doors and nail it shut, and let all the damn weeds in the ground and all the grass grow up to be 6 feet tall and shit like that. The roof them damn caved in on that motherfucker. The goddamn value of that property just went down, and now it's worth only $5,000 and shit like that. That's how black boys are treated right now, like vacant houses. in your nearest ghetto. And it's so goddamn sad. And then a lot of people like to talk shit about the younger generation of black males, like today's generation of 20-something-year-old black males and how they act. And the thing is that to a degree, can you be mad at them? Because they are a product of people who have been abandoned, who have been neglected. And we're continuing excuse me, I'm sorry. And as a collective, we continue to neglect generations and generations of black boys. So if they're neglected, do you know how fucked up it is to be neglected? That's a fucked up feeling, to being a child and being neglected and feeling as if nobody gives a fuck about you. That's a fucked up ass feeling, man. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. The more black males in 2022 focus on shame, blaming, and explaining, the more we neglect the next generation of black boys. The more we do that, the more we focus on trying to get degenerate and toxic females to see the error of their ways, the more we treating generations of black boys as vacant houses. The more we sitting here trying to beg and plead with females who are whores, who don't care about themselves for them to change their ways, the more we abandon the many problems that the black male collective is and has gone through in America. Yo, man, it's insane. It's insane. I mean, if you look in the corporate world, right? If you look in the corporate environment, like a lot of you guys know that I'm from New York City, the corporate capital of the world. You might as well call New York City the corporate capital of the world, right? And I've had the chance to visit the offices of so many different corporations, right? And the common theme that I see in a lot of these different corporations is how I see black females having a stronghold in the human resources department of the main different companies and corporations in New York City. They have a stronghold within the human resources department, which means that you talking about black females in the corporate world. When they have a stronghold in the human resources department, that means that they have a stronghold in who gets hired and who gets fired in said company. Because it's really HR that's really in control of the hiring and, for the most part, the firing process when it comes to employment. Right? A lot of times they are the end all and be all when it comes to establishing order within the company. Well, actually, I won't say they're the end all and be all, because the end all and be all are the ones that own the company, right? Right? But when you see these many different corporations where they have a lot of so-called black females that's strong within the human resources department, that's power. That's power. And here we are as black males that we consider ourselves to be thinking black males, but yet we're just sitting here on the internet thinking about a stink piece of pussy all the fucking time. What type of shit is that? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sig American Arcana. He says there was a BW on Block Talk Radio who said that she would raise her daughter to be president and raise her son to be a man who stay out of trouble. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of so-called black boys are raising homes where they're raising homes where in which the person that's raising them don't have a high don't have high expectations for their future. A lot of so-called black males in America are raising homes where the person who's raising them, the person or people who's raising them, do not have high expectations for them. I mean, if the only expectation you have for, don't get me wrong, don't get it twisted. If someone has a child, I'm sure you want to raise your child to stay out of trouble. You don't want your child to stay. You want your child to stay out of trouble for so they won't end up in certain bad situations, right? Of course. But that's basic. That should be some basic shit that every parent should have for their children. But you should also have higher expectations for your children. And at the same time raise your children for them to have high expectations of themselves. So in this situation that Sigma American Arcana is talking about, this is a situation where you got a female who's raising a daughter and a son, but have high expectations for her daughter and want to raise her daughter to possibly one day become the most powerful person in America while just having a basic expectation for her son to stay out of trouble. This is some sick shit. And what's so sad is that somebody busted nut inside of a bitch like that, man. Why don't you have, as a parent, why don't you have the same high level of expectation for all your children? Yeah, low expectation, man, low fucking expectation. But what's even more sad is that the so-called thinking black men on social media have no expectations when it comes to the future of black boys. They have, it seems as if they have no expectations at all. I mean, but just understand that the more we walking around wasting our time trying to debate with females, right? Not just debate with females, but debate with some of the most degenerate females that you could find. The more you're the more you abandon the more you abandon helping black boys, the more you have neglected solving the solutions or solving the problems that black boys in America face, man. I wouldn't say all so-called females are the new white supremacists. I wouldn't say this is not even an attack on the so-called black female. My videos is not really an attack on the so-called black female. It's really more of a wake-up call to so-called black males. Regardless if you believe that the black female collective are the new face of so-called white supremacy, the question is, as black males, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do to actually respond to that? What are you going to do to actually combat that? If you believe the black female collective is the new face of white supremacy, what is the black male collective going to do to respond to that? And I'm speaking in regards to a social, political, and economic level. What are you going to do to respond to that? Because you can say that as many times as you want to. You can say that shit as many times as you want to. You can go all over the internet or go outside in the street right now and say, "Oh, black women are the new white supremacy. Black women are the new white supremacy." Okay, you can say that as much as you want to. You can say that shit until you turn blue in the face. The fact of the matter is this: what are black males going to do to actually combat that? It goes down to that one simple question. And really, if you think black females is the face of white supremacy, then you're not seeing it. Then you're not seeing things from a way deeper level. You're not seeing things from a way deeper level. I see I see so-called black females as pawns to white supremacy. I don't see them as the new white supremacists. I see them as just pawns, but they're not the ones who control the chessboard. you know, but this is just another rant. I'm out of here, yo. All right, peace.